access to it.
Week 2 should be open. Let me
Yeah, it
see.
was locked for me as well.
Let me see if the date, sometimes the modules, hold on. Let me see what's going on. Week 2, I may have, let me,
It says it will be unlocked at 9:30 p.m.
oh no, so it's supposed to be 12. Okay, it's open. Sorry about that. Sometimes it defaults to whenever I did it, so I may have done it when I was at 9 o'clock and it just posted it to 9. Okay, yeah, it's open. Sorry about that. All right, so just wanted to talk really briefly, guys, about last week's assignment. Um, your long-term goals. I want everyone to do me a favor. Remember how I showed you to check your grades, right? I said once you go into your modules, on the left-hand side, there's a section that says grades. Please make sure you check your grades. There are notes that I put into your assignments. If you did not receive a grade for an assignment that you turned in, check your notes. Um, if it is the career plan assignment and you don't have a grade, but you have a note, it probably means you need to resubmit that assignment because the long-term goal did not pass the SMART test. And we remember what the SMART test is, right? That it needs to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. That's not hard to do. You just have to state what it is exactly you're trying to do and put a date on it. You cannot say, I want to make enough money to raise my family. This is not a personal goal. It is a career goal. You can't say, I want to have my own business. You need to state what type of business. You need to state when you want to have your own business. If you want to have an electrical business, you need to say, my long-term goal is to own my own electrical firm by 2035, by 2030. You can't just say my long-term goal is to own my own business. So please make sure and I even put some examples, right, to help out. So if someone is having a difficult time, you know, forming a long-term goal, I gave you some examples. I opened that assignment back up. So if you got notes from me, if you like my suggestion, just go back and repost the assignment um, with the end date and a proper goal. If you forgot to put your end date on it, I gave you credit, but I told you to make sure that you have an end date to your goals because you're going to need it when you do step 2. All right, so just make sure you check that assignment. Also, with the assignment from Thursday, you were supposed to do reviewing job postings and put the website that you got it from and the 3 hard skills, 3 technical skills. I don't know, I'm not talking to anybody specifically. You guys all could have had great um, responses, but I have almost 100 students, so I'm giving every class the same spiel. Make sure you check that assignment. If you only got a 50%, it's because you did not put the web addresses there. So you need to go back in and put the web addresses. Now, if you want your 50%, you can have it. But I always like to give people an opportunity to correct something. Maybe they didn't read the details. Maybe they didn't watch the video closely if they just watched the video. So I am assuming it was done in error because you just didn't pay attention to the instructions. So I give you an opportunity to go back and correct that. So make sure you double check to see what your grade was. All right. Lastly, I think most of you said that you have your um, scheduled your resumes and your mock interviews, but I feel like there were a few that were missing. Make sure once you've gotten a hold of career services that you go in and you put those dates in there so you can get credit for that, right? So make sure you do that. All right, guys. So let's get into week 2. We're in chapter 3 tonight. We're in chapter 3, and we are going to be talking about your personal brand. Now, if you remember from last week, what did I say? I said that you are the entity. You have to promote yourself. That's one of the reasons why we talk about, the importance of networking, which we'll really get into next week, but also, promoting yourself on social media, uh, making sure that when you're out and about and you're in environments that are career environments, and, where you could make connections, that you are promoting yourselves, right? There is no mentor that is going to guide you through your career. You have to be your own mentor. Now, once you figure out what it is you want to do, look at how useful that long term goal can be. If you know you want to become a master electrician and own your own business, that in and of itself is a talking point. When you go out and you're networking with people and you know you want to own your own business, now you have a true north. You have somewhere to focus your attention. If you just say, oh, I want to work in the electrical industry and be an electrician, and you don't have any type of goals in mind, you don't have a strategy in mind, there's no telling where you can end up. You go work for a company and you thinking like, oh, this is so good. I love this company. I love these people. And then next thing you know, they sell the business. Or next thing you know, they decide to move. Or next thing you know, some manager comes in. The first manager was great. This manager is a nut, and now your entire life is miserable. And what happens when we do that? What ends up happening when you hang your hat at a place, or you put all your eggs in one basket and you don't have plan B, you don't have a plan at all, that's when the trouble starts, right? So you should have a plan. You should have a long-term goal. Unless your goal is to become the CEO of that company, working for your first company should not be your goal. That should be a step towards your long-term goal. So you have to think of yourself like an entity. You have to think of yourself like a brand. If you know you want to become a master electrician one day, you have to say, how am I going to get there? It is going to take more than you just going to school and passing some tests and getting a license. You still have to work your way up to that. So that means that you have to promote yourself. You have to decide, okay, if I want to become a master electrician, do I want to focus in on low voltage, high voltage, residential, commercial, contracting? What is it that I want to do? You have to get granular in that thing, because once you know exactly what it is you're trying to do, then you can start to promote yourself in that way. You will need what we call a personal brand. That's your reputation, right? That's your reputation. Are all electricians equal? Who I'm sure most of us have gone to a barber or beauty shop at least once in our life, right? Give me a thumbs up if that's true. At least once you've gone to get your hair done. Are all beauty and barber shops equal? Could
Nope.
you just why
Nope.
not? I think they all got their license. Why are they not all equal?
The barbers don't have the same experience as a regular barbershop.
Oh, because the experience. And what else? What if I mean? Okay, so let's say this guy got 10 years. This guy got 10 years. You can go to either one, right?
It's just the way they cut, the abilities they use to cut hair is it's
Oh,
different for some
oh, the
reason.
abilities. Y'all hear that word, right? Y'all heard
The
the
type
man
of
say
clippers they
abilities.
use.
I didn't even say abilities. Y'all see that, right? Oh, so it's not just if they've been doing it for a long time. It's what kind of ability that they have. Oh. Anything else? What makes you choose your barber or your beautician?
The techniques as well.
Oh, their techniques. So all barbers are not equal. Guess what? All electricians are not equal either. So how is somebody going to differentiate you from the next guy? Because of your experience?
I will say the same experience. Also, the way that you take your job seriously,
Mm-hmm. Your brand, right?
your
Because guess
brand.
what?
Yeah,
Who's gonna vouch for you? The last place you worked, the people around you, right? Who's building the brand? You are. You have to decide what listen, this is not a job anymore. You are in a profession. So when you promote yourself in a profession, it's very different. Your industry has shrunk. Now you're in the electrical industry. And if you don't decide to move and you're just going to be in your area for the rest of your career, your industry is even smaller. Word is going to get out about you one way or the other sooner or later, right? If you're down in South Florida, you're Central Florida, North Florida, and that's where you plan to stay, you got to be very careful with your brand. Does that make sense? Because if you mess up your brand, you can go from one company to the next pretty soon. You're gonna run through the companies. Then what's next? You see, it's very different from just having a job. I'm be honest with you. Working in the education industry, I knew this professor, and this professor had a horrible reputation, horrible. And the professor went through from school to school and worked their way out of the profession. That's a lot of money and a lot of time to mess up your brand. And now you have to move out of town. Can you imagine? You mess up your brand so bad you have to leave town. Because if you're in the industry, it's not like you can just hop from industry to industry. You're going to go back to school and get retrained or do something else, right? So your brand is going to be very, very important. Um, what ingredients is it going to include? Well, what do you want to stand for? You want to be the authentic guy. You want to be consistent. You want to be the authority on all things electrical. You want to differentiate yourself between the next person. What do you want to stand for? What is going to be your brand? How do you create this brand statement? How many of us have a resume? If you look at your resume, and I said this before, if you have a summary on your resume, 9 times out of 10, that first sentence is your personal brand statement. Anybody ever paid attention? If you have a summary on your resume, 9 times out of 10, the summary is designed to be a personal brand, um, what you call it, summary, basically, right? Because it's like 3, 4 sentences. And that first line is like a tagline. Is it not? If you look in chapter 3, there's a lot of different, they give some examples of what, let me show you here, a personal brand statement could look like. Look at that first statement. A creative problem solver who can combine mathematical skills and science expertise to develop sustainable energy. That's almost like the open line to a summary, letting somebody know, because that first line, that first sentence kind of sums up your career. It lets someone know what they're about to read in that resume, right? If it was me and it was my education resume, it's probably going to start with something like a seasoned career educator, right? Seasoned career educator. That first line right there says what? The person has been doing it for a long time, and this is their career. This is not some, oh, I just started type of thing. And then I'm going to qualify it even more with over 19 years of experience in higher education. That one line itself, I can plop that anywhere. I can use it on LinkedIn. I can use it in my cover letter. It's going to be on my resume. It's a statement. I've said a lot in that one sentence, haven't I? A seasoned career educator with 19 years experience in higher education. If I wanted to drag it out a little more, I could say in teaching business and technology. A seasoned career professional with 19 years of experience in higher education teaching business and technology. That sums it up. Before you get even any deeper into my resume, you already know what you're about to get, don't you? I can plop that on my LinkedIn. I can put that in my cover letter. Your personal brand statement should be that succinct. When someone looks at your resume, it's right at the top. If someone reads your cover letter, it is right there in that first paragraph. What is your personal brand statement? What do you want it to say about you? Here's some other ones. A writer who's able to blend communication and critical thinking. A driven team player. One thing that you may notice, do you guys see both the hard and soft skills in these statements? Do you see them? Give me a thumbs up if you see the hard and soft skills in these statements because it's important, right? If you go become an electrical technician for the airport like GOA, the Greater Orlando Aviation Authority, or the Miami, whatever it's called down there, or Tampa, wherever you're at, and you're working with electrical, what type of electrical do you think you'll be doing if you're working at the airport? What kind of electrical work could you be doing?
Commercial.
Yeah, and what type? What, low voltage, high voltage? What are you probably going to be doing? What?
High voltage.
More high voltage.
More high voltage, like what? Give me an example.
Replacing the lights in the building. Transition into LED because they probably have the older
Okay.
system.
Yeah, yep. You probably do some low. What if you're like hanging alarm systems, CCTV, stuff like that? You could be doing some of that too, right?
Yep, that'd all be on the low voltage system.
That'd be low voltage, right? So, but if you're doing that as opposed to, let's say, somebody else goes to work for a residential um, um, electrical company, and they're, working with like commercial builders, I mean, residential builders or something like that. Is the skill set different from working at the airport versus going to people's home every day, helping them with their electrical problems?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, yeah, right. Because probably with the GOA or with the airport, you're probably not gonna have to talk to people on a daily basis, right? But if it's you're going to people's houses, now you got to do all this customer service. You see what I'm saying? So the way you present yourself may be a little different if you're applying for jobs, working in some type of commercial big project, right? What are the kinds of things you think they want to hear, right? On soft skill and technical skill versus what if you were applying for a job, to go do some residential stuff, what should your tagline kind of look like, when you're applying for that work? Do you mean, Ms. Taylor, that I may have to change my summary a little bit based upon the type of company I'm working for? Yeah, absolutely. If you're applying to go work at the airport, you may want that first sentence on your summary to sound a little different from if you're trying to go get a job where you have to deal with people every day. Does that make sense? Yeah, like I told you before, having resumes and applying for jobs is not for the faint of heart. It ain't for the weak because that means you have to tweak it each time. That's the whole reason why we wanted you guys to do that resume. I mean, that job search, the keyword search. I want you to get used to seeing how they're presenting this work because you have to go and mirror that in your resume. Yes, you have to tweak it. It doesn't take a lot, right? You can use chat GPTs and different AI systems to help you do that. Like, don't work smarter, not harder, right? It's okay to do that. Have these AIs like, put your resume in there and tell it to write you up a summary to put on your resume. Totally fine. Totally fine. And I train AI, so I'm telling you it's fine. And I'm a teacher. You're not cheating. You're talking about yourself, right? You understand? Totally different when somebody tells you to go write a paper with AI versus you're writing something up for yourself. Totally fine to use. You don't try to, stress yourself out and do it all by yourself. If I have to rewrite my resume, rewrite the summary 12 times, you know what I do? I'll put the job description in AI and I'll put my resume in there and I'll say, write me up a summary for each one. Work smarter, not harder, right? Because you're going to have to do it each time. Let AI tweak it for you a little bit. Does that make sense? Now, hopefully you don't have to apply for 30 jobs, but in case you do, there you go. All right. So going back a little bit, like I said before, how do you create it? Use your hard and soft skills. It really just has to be one sentence that you put on your summary, on your resume, or cover letter, or LinkedIn, or wherever. Now, the other thing I want to talk about too is how do you promote yourself, right? So now in business, you will network. You have to network. When I talk about networking, and I'm going to talk to you about how recruiters uh, fill jobs, it's through networking. The reason why we tell you guys to network is because most jobs are filled by somebody that they already know. I'm not talking about know as in a friend. I'm talking about being aware of. So, how do they know me, Miss Taylor? Well, that is what LinkedIn is for you to connect to recruiters, for you to connect to people, for you to give them your resume. So, when a recruiter has a position, what do you think he's going to do? He or she, they're going to go through the resumes they already have. They're going to go through the people that have already connected to them. You have to network. Let me give you an example. Anybody in here good friends with each other? Any friends in here? Alexander, Avero, yeah, are y'all friends? Give me a thumbs up if you guys are friends. I'm not talking about you met in school, like you met before school. I got two. Okay. So that means
Most
the
of
rest
us
of you,
met
huh?
during school. Most of us
Most of you
met
met
during
during
school.
school, right?
Yep.
Okay. So let me ask you this. I'm sure maybe most some of you probably don't even talk to each other outside of school. If all of you guys were on LinkedIn and you all connected to each other, 2 years down the road, Isaac gets promoted at his company and now he's a manager. Manuel needs a job. So Manuel hits up Isaac and say, "Hey, dude, maybe you remember me from Southern Tech. I see you have a position. Can I give you my resume?" Isaac, what would you say?
Definitely, I will give him the opportunity.
Exactly. You know why? Is Isaac and Manuel best friends? No. Networking is about just connecting to somebody that you know. That's networking 101. If you guys connect to me, please connect to me on my LinkedIn. You know how many students I have that have gone through this program that are in electrical, that are in welding, that are in HVAC? You're on my site. You go through my network. We're friends. Go through my network. I don't care. You see a student that went through Southern Tech and they're a manager somewhere and you want to work at that company and you say, "Miss Taylor, can you connect me to Sarah?" Why would I not? That's networking. Networking is very different in the business realm. This is not personal. What I love about professional networking, people expect you to do that. People expect you to network. That's all networking is, staying connected to people. You guys all stay connected. If Alvaro gets promoted at his job, hit Alvaro up with a thumbs up. Good job, guy. That's all you got to do. You don't have to go to Alvaro's birthday party. This is not personal. Professional networking is just about staying connected to people that you meet. That's it. Asking a question here or there. If Jordan puts out on LinkedIn that he trains electrical people now. Now he's an instructor and he's doing this little webinar on LinkedIn and he wants you guys to come. Go. You never know. Jordan could be your next opportunity. Networking has all everything to do with reciprocation. I give me a thumbs up, I give you a thumbs up. Like what I do, I like what you do. It's kind of like a regular relationship, right? But it's not deep. I'm just being honest. I have people that I've trained from Africa, from New York, that hit me up on LinkedIn. "Miss Taylor, can you give me a reference?" Why not? "Miss Taylor, can you connect me to so and so?" Okay. That's what it's about, guys. Because I'm going to tell you, in business, business is all about effectiveness and efficiency. And most business people don't have time to wait, they don't have time to play. If I can connect with somebody and fill this position, and I don't have to go to Indeed and I don't have to pay those Indeed.com fees and get 1,000 resumes, and Isaac can pass me Manuel's resume, Manuel's about to have a job. You know how many people I've hired just from referrals from people that already work for me? Networking is very important. So you have to, number one, Learn how to meet people. And so the personal commercial is giving you something to say when you're trying to meet them. And let me tell you, it's very easy. Let me tell you how it's going to go. Let me show you how easy it's going to go. If you already have, one second, guys. All right. So let's say you have your personal brand statement, right? Now, how do you make a commercial? All you have to do, clearly, you're not going to go and let's say you're out, well, let's stay with the LinkedIn example. Let's say you see somebody on LinkedIn and you want to connect with them. Like, you're not going to just write, "Hi, I'm a marketing professional who's dedicated to creating jaw-dropping promotions." That's weird. That's not how you do it, right? What you're going to do is introduce yourself first, right? Because that statement, that's on your resume. Maybe that's in your tagline. But if you want to talk to them, maybe you want to DM them. So you're just going to introduce yourself first. Look at what Susan does on the right-hand side. She first says, "Hi, my name is Susan Rakowski," right? And she goes into what her title is. She goes a little bit into her school. You can do that if you want to. In this example, she even talks about where she's from and geographical area. The only thing she's done that's different from the left-hand side is she's just expanded a little bit. Instead of just saying, "I'm a marketing professional," she talks about where she's a marketing professional. Now watch this. I don't even go that deep as they do on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side. All I would do with that personal brand statement, which I said to you already, what was my personal brand statement? A seasoned professional, a seasoned career professional with, in I'm sorry, a seasoned career professional in higher education with over what? No, a seasoned career professional with over 19 years experience in higher education, teaching business and technology, right? That is my personal brand statement. Now let me make it into a commercial. "Hi, my name is Cynthia Taylor. I've been teaching for almost 19 years in higher education and business and technology." All I did was change it to first person, right? Now, depending upon where I am, depending upon where I am, I may change how much more I say after that, right? I may change how much more I say after that. Let's say, for example, I'm meeting someone in an elevator, which is why they call it an elevator pitch. After I introduce myself, you got to tell the person what you want. Well, if I'm meeting this person in the elevator, maybe I saw their tag and they're at a school I want to work for, and I know that school is looking for a dean. You go right into why you're talking to the person. If it's in LinkedIn, like I said before, and let's say I see that they're looking for a dean, then I want to go into why I'm reaching out to that person. Maybe it's not for a position at all. Maybe it's because this person put out some little webinar on LinkedIn and I want to connect with them. "Hi, my name is Cynthia Taylor. I've, been teaching in higher education for 19 years in business and technology. I really love the webinar that you did." What am I doing with my commercial? I say who I am, I qualify myself with my personal statement, and then I just tell the person why I'm talking to them. Why am I connecting? If I'm in an elevator, hey, I would love to pass on my resume. If I'm on LinkedIn and they did a webinar, hey, I really love that webinar and would love to connect with you more. So what do you say, Ms. Taylor? What is this commercial all about? The commercial is all about helping you to start a conversation with a stranger. If it's online, why do you want to start a conversation with that stranger? Maybe you just want to connect with them because they're working at a company you want to work at one day. Let that be the reason. "Hi, I'm Tom. I recently transitioned into electrical," because maybe that's what your personal statement is. And let me say this: sometimes your personal statement should say that if you're making the transition, right? A lot of you are making a transition, and I get a lot of students say, "Well, what am I going to say? I'm not a seasoned electrician." But what you are, you can say something like, "I'm a seasoned professional transitioning into the electrical field." What is that saying? That's letting someone know, hey, I've had a career or I've had work experience because I'm seasoned at it, right? But I'm transitioning into something new. A lot of people's summary on their resume start out that way when they are transitioning into something. This is why it's so important for you guys to work with career services because they can help you, tweak how you're going to say that. But the biggest point of this commercial is to help you start a conversation with someone so that you can network. Does that make sense? Does that make sense, guys? That's what you're trying to do. There's no fast and hard rule on what you say after you introduce yourself and after you qualify yourself. It depends upon the situation and who you're talking to and why. But the point is for you to just break the ice and to start to network because networking is going to be very, very important. And so, this is why what we want you to do today, we want you to do two things. Number one, for your participation assignment, I want you to try to create a personal brand statement. Now, if you have a resume, how many people have a summary or a profile or qualifications on their resume? You literally can take that first sentence and tweak it a little bit if you want, and that can be your personal brand statement. So you ain't got to do much, right? Now, if you don't have it, you say, well, how do I create one? Well, all you have to think about is summing up your experience. Either you're a seasoned person that you're doing what you're currently doing, or you're just a seasoned professional transitioning, right? I don't care if you want to steal that as your statement. I'm a seasoned professional transitioning into the electrical field. Um, but maybe you want to then qualify a little bit more. I'm a seasoned professional transitioning into the electrical field. My previous experience includes, and that can differentiate each of your statements. Don't make it longer than a sentence or two. Then for your actual assignment, so let that be your personal brand statement. Turn that in for participation. Your assignment is to then add your name at the top of it and to do some type of, pretend that you're going to ask somebody, even if it's just to ask them to accept your resume for a position. I want you to create a little commercial just by saying, hi, my name is, give your statement, and then make an ask. Hey, I would like to give you my resume for this position. I would like to know if you guys are hiring, whatever you want to pretend your ask is. And for this commercial, we're asking you to do one or two things. You can either just write it down, 3 sentences, 4 sentences, and turn it in, or on that assignment, there's a button called video. If you paid attention to when you turn things in, it'll say upload a file, use text, or it says video. And as soon as you click that, it'll turn the video on, and you can just record yourself doing it. I'm not going to force you guys to do that if you don't want to. I know people get camera shy. Some people are not camera shy at all. So you can write it out or you can videotape yourself doing it. It's really just for you to get some practice. All right. So I'm going to go back to the participation question because I know you guys need to write that one down. The elevator pitch is in the assignment, the instructions. Do we have any questions on that?
Yeah, can you explain what that is again, please?
Which one?
The elevator.
The elevator pitch?
Yes, please.
So the elevator pitch is how you would introduce yourself if you were trying to start to network. So what's your background, Jordan, prior to coming into electrical?
Working in the trades most of my life, just not electrical, and then also security officer.
So if you were introducing, let's say you're going to pretend like you are going to a trades conference and you need to start networking. You need to start talking to people. So what would your pitch be? How would you introduce yourself? So a pitch is an introduction. I may say, hi, my name is Jordan. I have over however many years experience, let's say 15. I have 15 years experience in the trades industry. I'm recently transitioning into electrical. Right? I've introduced myself. I've said what I've done. Now you can fake the ask. Let's say you're going to pretend you're going to do you wanted to learn more about a position you saw on their website. I saw you guys had a position that you were advertising on your website. Is there anybody I can talk to about that?
Okay.
That's your elevator pitch.
Awesome.
Make sense? Right. So
Yep.
whatever it is, there's no hard and fast way to do that. I just want you to think, okay, what if I did have to bump into someone? What if I did want to talk to someone? How would I introduce myself? How would I pitch myself? What would I say about myself to like start the conversation? That's all it really is, a conversation starter.
Sounds good.
Yes, sir. Anybody else? Thanks for asking that question, Jordan, because I know sometimes I ramble. So hopefully, I'm glad you asked. Someone else could have had it. All right, my friends, if you don't have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and let you go.